Hello and welcome back. Today I'm bringing you my first brand review of the year and I thought we'd focus on DISSH. And this largely was inspired by the fact I was asked for my DISSH edit and I didn't really have anything on my radar, and I went and had a look at the new arrivals. There was a lot that really enticed me, and buoyed by my search for the perfect affordable alternative to the Rose Ophelia sweater, I decided to place an order just to see what's what. So I'm going to talk you through the items that I ordered, what I think. I'm also going to share with you a bit of a wear and tear update on some of the other items that I have bought from DISSH previously, and throughout I'm hoping to pepper this with what I'm looking for, especially when I'm shopping online. So let's just get right into it. Links for everything will be down in the description box if you're curious, and I will have a corresponding blog post where I share exact item measurements too, as I know how helpful that is. The very first thing I added to cart was something that I'd seen in their email marketing, and I was definitely very curious. I thought a great way to really elevate and update a classic piece in your closet. There's oversized white short sleeve shirt which has this broderie detail, but it's more of a ladder effect as opposed to a classic broderie. It has that lovely little cotton stitch trim around the edges. I just think that this is quite fun, playful, but still feels very modern and minimalist at the same time. And that was what I was really drawn to. I sort of envisioned myself wearing this with a white short, with white denim, maybe also tucked in, worn open, but I thought it could be quite a versatile item. And it is really lovely. There's a slight sheerness to the actual cotton itself, so I can see the shape of my hand underneath. So undergarments are going to be kind of a real consideration. I personally like a mandarin style collar a lot of the time with shirts, just because I feel with my hair and with my features sometimes just adds a little bit too much sharpness to have the collar as well, just a little bit too much fabric near my face, especially as someone who is a little bit narrower. I also like these oversized styles because they do slope down slightly, so it helps me to create that sense of proportion. It really sort of creates width across my shoulders and gives that sense of visual balance. So that's something else I'm looking at. I think that this is actually really, really beautiful, and I like it just as much as I kind of anticipated that I would. I do know that it comes with a matching trouser, though I think that this is the kind of item I'd want just one or the other so that it can be the hero piece and really shine on its own. I did go with my usual size AU8, and I will say that it does run quite relaxed, so if you're petite you would really want to size down with an item like this. The next thing I did was a little search for their 100% merino pieces because I wanted to see what knitwear they had. When it comes to knitwear, I'm always opting for natural fibers because it is going to last longer in your wardrobe, and it's also going to feel really nice and comfortable against your skin. You don't have to worry about it looking like trash at the end of the season. And of course, when you have a fabric like merino, it is temperature regulating. And one of my favorite tops in my wardrobe for the autumn winter season are these basic crew neck long sleeve tops in a block color from Arket or COS. They do the same thing. And I kind of came to the conclusion that the one from COS and Arket for the season, kind of the ivory color, is just a little bit too pink for me, and I wanted something that was a little bit warmer, and this really caught my eye, and I actually gravitated towards it for two reasons. One, the actual color, and also the fact that it kind of has a slightly flared out sleeve which gives a different shape. So thinking about how we can create this sense of differentiation between our wardrobe basics, I think is a great way to ensure you have a little bit of a fresh perspective when you're bringing something new into your wardrobe. But also, in addition to the sleeve detail, it has the ruching across the waist as well. This has more of a traditional slim fit. I went with the size small, but there is a bit of stretch to it. Probably the most notable element of this is that it is sheer. I mean, you can see the swing tag, you can also see the hanger through the fabric, so what you're going to wear underneath will matter, especially if you're planning to wear this in a workwear setting. It does come in a really lovely chocolate brown. There's a matching merino skirt, and trust me, I was very, very tempted to buy that set when it was on sale, but I became very aware of the fact that I don't tend to wear very fitted items like that, as I don't think that it necessarily harmonizes with the more angular shape of my frame. And something like this I can easily wear with a more structured pant or skirt. So this one I decided to add to cart as more of a wild card piece. I really liked the fact that it had a sense of texture, that it was a t-shirt but in a knitted fabrication. That drew me in. I did not love the actual composition though, so it's a cotton and nylon blend. And you can tell the nylon's being blended in there to give it texture, but it isn't actually really soft on the hand. It does have quite a raw feeling to it, not in a rough way. You know, it kind of reminds me a little bit of a loofah or something that we use to get rid of dead skin cells off of your body in the shower, but maybe a little bit softer. There's a real tactile quality to this. In terms of the actual fit and the cut of it, I really like this. I think this is incredibly chic. It is cut more on the slim side, so it doesn't feel oversized, but there's a relaxed nature to it because it isn't sculpted to the body. I've got the size small, and I would say true to size if you want that kind of relaxed but still slightly formal feel. I think if you are looking for a way to add in more of that t-shirt element to a formal setting, this is a way to go, but just keeping in mind that I can't really speak to how this is going to launder on a long-term basis. I would really prioritize natural fibers, especially for a high rotation piece. This isn't going to be anywhere near as breathable as something that is 100% natural fibers like my previous two picks. And it's very obvious that that is what I'm seeking out when I'm on the DISSH website. I really love their natural fibers. I think their cotton and their silks are really lovely, very good value for money. Their linen is nice, but it varies from item to item. So some linen pieces are much nicer than others in my experience. But yeah, I think this is cute. Moving on to the sweater and how I justified placing this order in the first place. I got this idea in my head that for my birthday this year, I wanted to buy myself a really nice version of something I wear a lot. And I don't know how I came to this conclusion, but I settled on the category of knitwear because it's a big part of my autumn winter wardrobe, something I'm wearing all the time. And I tend to wear my favorites a lot. Like I don't cycle through all of my knitwear much. I tend to hone in on a handful, and those will become my most worn of the season. And I realized that a really nice gray, something that's a little bit more on the neutral end of the spectrum, a touch of warmth rather than something that's icy and cool was what I was seeking out. So that was sort of number one. I knew ideally I wanted something that was gray, as I like that it's not too high contrast, but also it had to be a very specific color gray. So something that was a little bit more neutral to warm, no cool tones, because I feel like it really washes me out, especially in the winter time, or it just really drains all the color from my face. And I thought, you know, I'd seen so much hype about the Ophelia sweater from the row that why don't I see if that is the sweater for me? Extortion, it really is, it's so expensive. And with luxury knitwear, eventually you get to a point where you have diminishing returns on the level of quality that you're getting for the price that you're paying. So a $2,000 sweater is not going to be 20 times better than a $100 sweater. It'll be somewhere in the middle. Anyway, I wanted to find a more affordable alternative, and I thought I'll broaden my search and I'll go any color. And I was recommended DISSH, and I actually thought that this looked like a really good option. This isn't to me a luxury item, but it is nice. So it's a cotton and merino blend. I know for a fact, having bought their cotton merino knits in the past, it is not going to feel as soft and plush as it does right now. The hand feel is going to change when this gets laundered. But I think they've done a pretty decent job. You know, the sleeves aren't exact, but they do have a bit of a shape to them. They're really relaxed. They also have this really visible seam detail here, and they have the chunky collar. The other notable difference between this and the Ophelia is the rolled hem. I am going to have a more in-depth review coming very, very soon for those of you who are curious, because I did scour the internet and I found a pretty good alternative. Anyway, I think this is really nice. It is very, very slouchy. So again, I would potentially recommend sizing down. It does come in two other colors. One is kind of an olivey color. I can't recall the other one. Maybe it's black. But I thought the navy blue was a really beautiful alternative to black, especially if you find black a really difficult color to wear. And again, I want to stress the fact that I seek out those natural fibers. There was another sweater on the website which I thought was actually a closer match to the Rose Ophelia, but it was a blend, and I have ordered one of their blended sweaters in the past just to see if I'd be willing to compromise, and the answer is absolutely 100% no. There was this little vest that everyone was going crazy for last year, and I ordered that, and it was absolutely not worth the hype. It looked great in photos, but it felt like plastic. And so yeah, their natural fiber stuff is great. Just avoid the synthetics. That's the sweater. Anyway, more in-depth review coming very, very soon. Then I actually was looking at their shirting, and I have these trousers, which I'll talk about in a minute. They're these ones here, and I knew that they had a matching shirt, and I thought, you know what, why don't I get the set? And I thought, hang on, it's summer. Today, the day I'm filming this, is 40 degrees. Why don't I order the matching shorts so I can see how that looks together? And I have to say, I really have some thoughts on this one. Now, the cotton itself is absolutely beautiful. It is so thick. It feels really durable and really robust. This is not flimsy at all. The fact that it is so thick gives it a really serious sense of structure. So you're going to have a lot of shape. So if you prefer a more floaty fabric, then this isn't going to be for you. I personally tend to prefer these more kind of robust, thicker fabrics for my shirting. So I do find that I love elements of this. But it is so large. This is comically large. I mean, I ordered the size 8 and it feels like it's maybe 2 sizes too big for me. I'm not sure. I immediately rolled up the sleeves because this is a way that you can help to balance out a larger piece like this, something that does feel like it's a little bit too big, because you're revealing some skin and you're helping to create that visual balance. And that immediately made it feel a little bit more suited to me. The other thing I did was I actually unbuttoned a few of the buttons at the bottom because it is a really long shirt. I mean, I'm 5'8" or 172 centimeters tall, and you can see how long this is on me. If you're petite, if you're under 5'5", this is going to be a dress on you and it is just going to feel a little bit too big. And in that case, you'd really want to size down at least 2 sizes. And I think using those little styling techniques definitely made this work better. But the question is, how much wear am I going to get out of something like this? I mean, it looks really cute with the shorts, but I don't actually think these sorts of shorts are necessarily 100% my style. Not enough for me to want to purchase another pair when I've already got 2 different options in my wardrobe already, and in such a specific color. I do think this brown is really, really nice. The shorts I also think I got in the 8, yep, and these have a really nice thick elastic band that is firm but not too tight. It doesn't feel like it's cutting you off. They also have pockets, which I think is really nice. But while these boxer style shorts might be trendy at the moment, this is not going to be something that stays around for a really long time. And I'm just thinking about what types of shorts am I personally gravitating towards, and I'm seeking out that slightly longer short or something that is shorter. But as I said, I've already got my bases covered in my wardrobe, so I can't really see this as being something I need to have. Whereas I actually do think it does look quite nice with the matching trousers. You can see that there's been a little bit of a fade on the color of the trousers from these going in the wash a handful of times compared to how it looks fresh out of the box. This is ever so slightly darker, whereas this is ever so slightly lighter. I don't know if that's just a case of maybe the dye isn't as color fast, so would 100% recommend making sure you're washing this with darker colors. But I can say with surety that this is a fabric that is going to hold up well, that is going to have longevity, as opposed to something that feels really flimsy and like it might rip after a few wears. But yeah, I thought the shirt actually looked really nice with the trousers. I mean, tell me what you think in the cutaway. I could see myself wearing it like that, but that's definitely more of a transitional season look for me. Maybe with the knit or a knit thrown over my shoulders would be a lovely option, but I really would have to make sure I've got these sleeves rolled up, because when they're full length, it just looks like I'm dressing up in someone's clothing that is many, many sizes too big for me. These pants, by the way, are probably my favorite trousers, aside from another pair I'm going to mention in a minute from DISSH. I've got 2 different pairs in this particular sort of a style. So they just have a thin elastic at the waistband and then a little tie so that you can really tighten it and secure the trousers at your desired point on your waist. The only bugbear about these trousers is that they don't have pockets, and I'm always searching to find my pocket so that I can put my hand in it, put something in it like my phone. So that's probably the only thing I don't love about them. They're very flat at the back as well, no pocket there. But they're cut really well. They're a wide straight leg pant. These ones here are ever so slightly cropped, whereas the other pair I have, which is in a silk cotton blend, this is from the Jasper line, and I think they still have this set in the teal. If you love that color, I really can recommend it. There's a matching shirt as well. These ones are lined, and that is definitely something that I kind of do look out for at DISSH. So when I say they're lined, I mean they're lined all the way to the ankle. So it's no half lining here. They really haven't cut any corners on the lining, which I appreciate because it does make sure that the trousers are 100% opaque. These are great because they're durable as well. These ones run ever so slightly longer than the brown pair, so they're floor length on me. And yeah, they're just very, very comfortable, very easy if you have young children or you just have more of a relaxed lifestyle and you want something that has an element of polish but feels very effortless and laid back. And that's what I love about these. But yeah, the silk cotton fabrication is very, very nice. These do run true to size, so I have both these pants in an AU8 as well. If you love this style, but you want something that is 100% cotton, I can recommend the DISSH Studios pants, which I will link below as well. I'll pop a photo on screen. These ones are also a little bit more cropped, so they're going to be more suited for petites, even if you're looking for a full length pant. Moving on to one of my Black Friday sale purchases. So I ordered a couple of things in the Black Friday sales from DISSH that I'd had on my wish list, one being the Jack midi skirt. So I have a black midi skirt, or almost full length skirt from Goelia, and I wanted something that was at the opposite end of the color spectrum, and this really caught my eye. I will say it is a very yellow cream. I do think this can sometimes feel a little bit more challenging to style, especially just making sure you're pairing it with the right kind of white. So for example, it'll pair really nicely with that merino top, but then with something that is more of a fresher, kind of crisper, bright white, hang on, you're really going to highlight the fact that the skirt has a yellow undertone to it. The sizing on this is very standard, size 8, fits me perfectly. It has a lovely split at the back. This is in a quite thick twill fabrication, perfect affordable workwear option if you're looking for something that is a little bit more tailored and formal, that is not trousers to wear to the office, that is not going to break the bank, and that you can also launder and care for easily because you can just pop this in the washing machine. And this sort of twill that they've used, while it is a poly blend, isn't something that I really foresee pilling a lot. And this is definitely one of the areas where I will make a little bit of a compromise in my wardrobe. For those more structured items, I do appreciate that they might need to have a little bit of polyester or some sort of synthetic to give the item some shape. And I'm also mindful of the fact I have young children, so I need my clothing to be carefree. And if I can't easily launder it, then that's a problem. I'm not going to reach for that item. So while the two pants I mentioned, they're natural fibers, they're very easy to care for, and they're also in darker colors, whereas they don't actually have that same level of structure as the skirt, not even these cotton pants. So that is something that I do keep in mind, and I think understanding how you can use fabrications to your advantage is really valuable when you're shopping for your wardrobe. One of the other items that I did buy at that same time was this strapless top, and I love the fact that I can really play with proportions here when I'm wearing this, especially wearing it with a little white short or even a black short if I want to create a high contrast moment, because I can utilize the rule of thirds in order to create that 1/3, 2/3 element. So the shorts just peeking out the bottom being that 1/3 of the outfit when I'm considering it just from my shoulders to my knees. So this one is another cotton and nylon blend. There's 10% nylon in here, which actually gives the twill a little bit of a coated feel to it. It's really, really subtle, and I suspect also it just helps the top to have a little bit of structure, particularly with that drape. The only thing I wish that they hadn't done was line it in polyester. It would be so much nicer if they'd lined it with cotton or with maybe a silk cotton blend. I will say that this is definitely for girls who have a fuller chest than myself, because when I put this on, if I'm not wearing a bra, because I don't necessarily always need to, I don't fill it out at all, and I actually have to keep pulling it up. I got an AU8. If I'm wearing a strapless bra, I tend to fill it out a lot better, and I don't have to kind of tug or play around with it. And I actually find it's one of my non-strapless bras that works best with this because it's got a little bit of padding to it, so it really does ensure that the top stays secure. I think if you are smaller chested, it may be one to miss, because I do find the waist measurement being ever so slightly accurate to an AU8. If you are on the smaller end of the spectrum, you could potentially size down though. but I do think it's very, very chic, and I've been happy with it so far. I've worn it quite a few times and it feels reasonably robust, feels very stylish too with that split detail. I have seen a few designers kind of coming out with items like this, so I'm guessing that might have been the inspiration. I did want to highlight my outward tank, which I don't think they make this particular item anymore. I remember seeing it in the end of season sale or final sale a while ago. But I did just want to call out how good their basics line is. So just their ribbed cotton stretch pieces. I've had this one for 2 or 3 years now and I wear it every single summer. It comes out of the wash looking and feeling like new. I have friends who have these tanks in multiple colors and swear by them. They're just great, and I think this speaks to the fact that you don't necessarily need to break the bank to go and find good basics. You don't need to buy a designer version. I do feel like these were a slightly higher price point, so the sale price was incredibly good, but they do fit true to size for that very kind of snug fit. The final item I just wanted to very quickly highlight, and that is the Seline pant. Now, if you've been following for a long time, you'll know that I was a big lover of the Rowan pant, but I always talked about the fact that it had this kind of weird spongy quality to the fabric, but not only that, it pilled terribly. So the Seline trouser, in my opinion, helps to resolve both of those issues. One, the actual feel of the twill, which is again a poly blend, is so much nicer on the hand. It has this really nice heaviness to it as well, which helps the trouser to fall and drape beautifully at the ankle. It is a full length pant, but this is the type of trouser that I think is going to suit both casual workwear and evening circumstances. So really easy to dress up and dress down. To me, a black trouser or something in this sort of shape is a really versatile piece. But yeah, you're not going to have that issue with the pilling, and the fabric feels nicer. I do find sizing wise, they fit true to size. I will say I have noticed variations in terms of the quality of the craftsmanship around the waistband. So you may have noticed my chocolate brown Zendaya pants, which are also from DISSH. They kind of pull weirdly here where the clasp attaches, and it's not a 100% deal breaker for me. Those pants I've worn so much and I love them and I'm happy to put up with it, but I think I would have been happier if my trousers didn't do that. I mean, I know I would have been happier. These ones thankfully don't have that issue, but just something to keep in mind. And if you live in Australia, perhaps worth kind of getting an alternative, maybe getting 2 pairs when you order them just to see which ones are finished nicer. Remember, clothing is made by hand, so you are going to have discrepancies from item to item, not just in the quality of the sewing, but also in the actual sizing as well. There may be little variations, and I think brands usually have a size allowance of up to 1 inch. So definitely a good thing to note, especially if you are in store. So those are the things that piqued my interest, a little bit of an updated brand review for you. I hope that you found this really useful and helpful. Clearly, I didn't pick out any dresses to try on, which is probably ironic given that the brand really specializes in linen dresses in particular. And there's a couple of reasons why. I think that a lot of their dresses are really beautiful, but they're very specific. And you're much more limited with your styling when you pick a one and done item like a dress over separates. And this is definitely where I'm at. I really want to seek out versatility and also just the maximum number of options, the maximum ways that I can wear things, and separates are the way to do that. It also means that you have that ability to rewear things more, because the dress, if you get a mark on it, you have to put it in the wash, even if it's not soiled. Whereas a relaxed top or a pair of pants, you can wear them more than once before you have to put them in the washing machine, as long as it's not got any marks on it and it's not smelling funky or anything like that. And that's just a reminder that many of us probably wash our clothes more than we need to. Knitwear in particular, you should probably only be washing a handful of times a season unless it's got a mark on it. Anyway, curious to know what you think, what you would be keeping if you have your eye on anything on the website, and just want to know my thoughts. But yeah, my key points, my key takeaways when shopping from DISSH is, number 1, opt for their natural fibers over everything else. They are always going to be superior to their synthetic blends. Number 2, seek out those more interesting cuts. I feel like this is something that DISSH really excels at. They really do basics that feel very elevated. Number 3, think about the fabric and how this is going to play with your lifestyle, how the item's actually going to hang and drape on your body. And 4, I would say also consider the areas where you may be willing to compromise because of that lifestyle factor. The other thing I do want to point out for those of you who live in America is DISSH worth it? You're paying the US dollar equivalent of the Australian pricing. So if an item is 170 Australian dollars, it's going to retail for 170 US dollars. And given the current exchange rate, I personally can't see that as being well worth it. I think that you have options closer to home that are going to do the job, that are going to give you that same look. And a really good way to actually find those sorts of things is to just use Google image search. Honestly, it is the best search engine you'll ever come across. There's one style tip you take away from this, is to really maximize the use of Google image search. I use it every single day, at least once or twice a day. And that is all I have to say in today's video. Thank you so much for watching, for spending some of your day with me. I want to know what brand you would like to see me review next. And the very, very expensive sweater debate is also coming very, very soon. All right, thanks for spending some of your day with me, and I'll see you soon. Bye.